want to talk to you today about how to change your mind without using psychedelics. And the reason I bring that up is because there seems to be a revolution going on. There's a bestseller called How to Change Your Mind, What the New Science of Psychedelic Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence by Michael Pollan. And he lists the various use psychotherapeutically or in mini doses of LSD and psilocybin and ayahuasca. And I want to say to you, we're not here to lecture against drug use, but what I want to say to you is, can you do this in your own spare time? And I want to do it by talking about somebody who didn't change their mind until late in life. And I want to ask the question, can you bring this farther forward? This is an article that appeared in the New York Times. Few, if any, psychologists would say that a preference for natural lighting, doodling in class, or even identifying as LGBTQ is a sign of ADHD or autism. And yet everywhere I look online, someone is trying to diagnose me with something using symptoms unrelated to clinical diagnostic criteria. Videos with titles like 6 signs you may have ADHD and signs that you might have OCD can rack up millions of views. In many online circles, particularly those frequented by young, white, middle-class women like me, certain diagnoses are treated like zodiac signs or Myers-Briggs types. Once they were primarily serious medical conditions, perhaps ones which people were ashamed of. Now, absent social stigma, mental health status functions as yet another category in our ever-expanding identity politics. I was first diagnosed with autism at age 20, shortly after my sophomore year of college. After my costly evaluation, I was relieved. Knowing I had autism gave me the permission I needed to accept my quirks and insecurities. So at the age of 20, this person realized that they were autistic. That gave them an identity. They felt fine. It gave them a group and they belonged. The condition quickly became a core part of my identity. I joined a sensory-friendly theater group at my college, proudly announced that I was actually autistic on social media, and set up a recurring donation to an autism rights organization. The social approval that followed was addicting. The more I talked about autism, it seemed, the more opportunities I got, whether it was grad school essay material or a side gig serving as a consultant on a study. The diagnosis had crystallized into a central part of my self-concept. I didn't just have autism, I was autistic. I think you can sense where this person is going. They embrace something, a permanent label about themselves. It gave them a place in life, a thing to do. It made them feel okay about themselves. And now, 10 or 20 years later, they're regretting it. Why is something that was so truthful that they couldn't question it at one point in their lives now something they regret? Well, this person is saying, is that really my identity? Am I really not more or less a normal average person? One reason you might ask that question is because somewhere along the line from your 20s, perhaps into your 30s, nobody gives you any kudos or rewards for having a problem or not being able to deal with anything. They just want to know if you can do a job and if you can get paid for doing that job. And in fact, the very fact of having placed yourself in this category may, as this woman describes, have prevented you from actually practicing and developing the skills that she's going to have to practice and develop to become a fully formed person. So I want to return to the question that I asked earlier. How do you learn the truth about something that you're not questioning? something that everybody accepts about the world, that you accepted about the world, without taking ayahuasca or psilocybin? Can we sidestep the whole drug trip? And here are my 5 rules for doing that. Look at the evidence about what you're thinking about yourself without any kind of emotion. Well, am I really autistic? Am I really disabled? Am I really worse than other kinds of people? Avoid judgments when you're doing this, the second step. Imagine looking at yourself like a sympathetic person, like your mother. And they might say, well, darling, you always were very good at school. You're always a reasonably happy person. How is it that all of a sudden that you've decided that you have a disease? Now you've got to relax back after having made these judgments about yourself and visualize yourself as a normal human being. It's almost like a drug trip. It's almost like you've been taken away from yourself and you're above the earth and you're looking down on yourself and you're seeing yourself as being a totally different kind of entity. Now, going back to your disease diagnosis, imagine this is going to be you forever, forever. If you're 20, when you're 30, 40, 60, 80, when you're a parent, when you're married, when you have grandchildren, is that really the you that you want to be in the universe? Imagine that you, the ideal you that you would like to be. That's like a drug fantasy in a sense. I'm going to take this drug. I'm going to see myself as a superhero. I'm going to see myself as a person who's gifted. I'm going to see myself as a normal, happy person. It's a giant leap of faith. But make that leap of faith. So by using these 5 steps, you can avoid the difficulty or the extra effort of having to take a drug to reimagine the reality that you would never question previously and change your mind about something as crucial as, who am I? What will I be in life?